Hey guys, it's Daniel, licensed therapist. Sometimes the therapists in movies are just so wrong, but sometimes they're so right. Of all the brilliant writers in Hollywood, it's Will Ferrell who really nails it here. But more than good writing, I thought these clips let you folks get into my world. So let's watch some of these crazy situations and let your guy let you know how I would handle some of these situations. So let's get into it.
So, Dale, I don't know how much you know about therapy, but it usually starts by you telling me a little something about yourself.
I work at a college as a janitor, even though I feel like I'm smarter than most of the people that go there. Sometimes I see an equation written on a blackboard, like half an equation, and I'll just figure it out.
Is this Good Will Hunting?
No.
Sounds a lot like the plot of Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, anyway, my best friend is Ben Affleck.
Right off the bat, I thought this guy was casted so well. He really gives off therapist vibes. I love his sweater vest. That was a nice touch. And the opener is pretty consistent with what we would do in the beginning of a therapy session. So I thought it was good and I thought it was believable. But John C. Reilly here clearly starts to outline the plot of Good Will Hunting. And if this were happening to me, I would be thinking one of four things. Number one, I would think that, hey, here's a guy that's just trying to be funny. He's using humor as a way of connecting with me. And I would like that. I would actually really appreciate it. So I'd probably use humor back. I'd probably say, is it college in Boston? That's my Boston accent, by the way. And I just want to show him that I'm just a regular person and I'm here to help him and just try to seem like not a therapy robot so that he can just open up and talk to me. Number two, I would probably think that his humor is a defense mechanism. And that's what this guy thinks he's doing. And so right away, the therapist just calls him out and says, this is what you're doing. You're outlining the plot of Good Will Hunting. You know, I don't think that that is a bad way to go about it. Another thing I would do is if he's using humor as a defense mechanism, I would say, I feel like you don't want to be here. And that's okay. And I would really validate how he feels. Number three, he is delusional. He actually believes that he is the guy in Good Will Hunting and that it's actually playing out in his life. If that's the case, maybe calling out a full-blown delusion would not be the best idea. So I would wait off on that and I would do a little more clinical investigation to see really what's going on with him. And number four, the last thing I might think is he might actually be telling the truth. He is actually living out the plot of Good Will Hunting. And if that is true, I would need to apologize because I did all that other stuff. I think that that's not a bad thing to do. In fact, therapists make mistakes all the time. We make wrong reads, we make wrong assumptions, we do things that could be offensive even though we don't mean it. And to be able to apologize, I think is a great thing to model in relationships. And that does happen. I apologize in session. And it's no big deal, as long as we have a good therapeutic relationship. Let's move on to the next clip.
So I thought we'd begin talking about your parents' divorce.
Okay.
How old were you when they got divorced?
15.
It's a hard age.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of those feelings?
I love you.
Obviously, you don't know me.
I love you so much.
Thank you. And I will take that as a feeling that you have of comfortability with me.
It's more than comfortability. I mean, I fucking love you.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about our life together. I feel like I'm walking on a cloud. My penis is tingling right now.
That is so off-putting.
You're not feeling this?
In no way, shape, or form do I feel any feelings of intimacy towards you in any way whatsoever.
This clip made me laugh so hard. Will Ferrell does an excellent job of not just coming on to the therapist, but coming on in such a hilarious way. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I know this may be very hard to believe, but something like this has never actually happened to me. I know you're looking at all of this and say, what? No way, Daniel. Yes, this has actually never happened to me. Never once has a client ever come on to me or anything like that. It's shocking, I know, but you know what? People that come to me in my private practice, they're looking to do something. They're looking to work on something, to overcome something, a hurt, a trauma. They want to get good at being able to be in a relationship. So coming on to their therapist is the last thing on their mind. So I can see why this has never happened. And I can understand developing fondness for your therapist. But crossing over into romantic feelings is a completely other thing. And my clients are voluntary. And I can see how it can happen with other therapists who don't have voluntary clients, who are just stuck there in a therapy session with this other person who seems to be very caring and very nice. And if they happen to be attractive, I can see them developing relationship feelings for their therapist. And it's funny because we're actually trained to deal with this situation in graduate school. And how we're trained is actually really funny. We're supposed to give these clients a pamphlet. And this pamphlet is titled Therapy Never Includes Sex. I thought that was so funny that the way that you deal with this situation is you hand them a pamphlet. The thing about this pamphlet is I've never seen it before. I don't have it. I don't give it out to clients. I know plenty of therapists. None of them have it, and no one else has ever given it out to clients. And I think it's just a funny thing, but it's protocol. But if something like this were to happen, and if I were in the situation that this therapist was in, I would sit and process with my client these feelings. And I would explore with them, what is it all about? And the thing is, if the feelings are really strong and I feel like clinically it becomes a barrier to my client getting help, then I would probably just refer them out to another therapist because they need to work on something. And if this prevents them from working on it, I think it's better to just get another therapist and get done what you need to get done so that they don't waste their time and money. And this lady does a really good job. And it's very believable to me. And how she responds is obviously just to get laughs, but I feel like it's pretty accurate. And at the end of the clip, she kind of loses her professionalism and her defenses are penetrated a little bit, but this happens in therapy, so I feel like it's absolutely realistic. So let's see what happens in this next clip.
That before, so
I
you
think
can't
yeah.
expect.
It was
Perfect.
good, though. It was good.
Yeah.
Thought I've gotten close to a hug before.
Hello, Brennan.
Denise.
Hi.
Hey. Robert, Mom, Derek. This is my girlfriend, Denise.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Actually, I'm his therapist. We are in absolutely no way dating.
Right.
Brennan told me he was going to hurl his body off a helicopter into shark-infested waters, so I had a legal obligation to be here.
I get it. Don't want to appear too eager, and that is a good strategy,
like
too.
her.
You are an enabler. You think you're helping,
And
but you're
you
not.
are a keeper.
What'd you think?
Brennan, thought you were incredibly brave. And I mean that in strictly the most clinical and professional sense possible, with no emotional, intimate, sexual, or any other undertones that you could possibly infer.
God, you're gonna make me cry. What poem is that from? Is that James Joyce?
Once again, so hilarious. A couple things are off though. First of all, her announcing that she's Will Ferrell's therapist is breaking confidentiality. You're not supposed to let anybody know that you're a client's therapist. If you're in public and you see your client, we're trained to ignore them or pretend that we don't know them. And we can only let people know that we are a client's therapist if they say it first. If not, we're breaking confidentiality, we're breaking the HIPAA law, and it's punishable. Last time I checked, up to $10,000 and 10 years in jail. So confidentiality is a huge thing, and this is a big no-no right here. Secondly, yes, there is a legal obligation to make sure our client is safe, and if there is a real possibility that they're going to commit suicide, then we do have a duty to warn. But that doesn't mean I'm showing up anywhere. You're not going to call me and say that and I'm going to show up to wherever you are to make sure you're okay. All I really have to do is warn the local authorities and make a reasonable effort to make sure you're safe. So those things are a little off. The whole thing though, I thought was super hilarious.